Hi people, it's Archivist here, coming at you with yet another top 10. For me, one of the greatest aspects of World of Warcraft has been, funnily enough, the world itself. By this point I think it's safe to say the game has one of the most diverse settings in all of gaming. There are deserts, forests, underwater wonderlands, huge caverns, mountain ranges, molten wastelands and snowy tundras. And so in this highly subjective list, I'll be going through my top 10 zones that currently lay within the World of Warcraft. To keep it varied, I'll be choosing at least one zone from each major continent. Gilneas is all about atmosphere. The Victorian architectural style combined with the ferocious worgen that are running around give the place a distinct character. Furthermore, during the questing experience, Gilneas features some of the best use of phasing in the game. My only wish for the zone in its current state is for Gilneas to become an official capital city. Stonetalon Mountains, at least from the Horde perspective, feels like the ultimate questing sugar rush. It's not a very long zone, the storyline is short but sweet. You rise through the ranks of Kromgar's army, taking out key alliance fortifications. And of course there's the epic explosive ending. I'm also a fan of the zone's general look, but it's by no means its greatest strength. When I recently returned to Ishara to level an Orc Hunter, I was struck by just how beautiful the zone is. Despite originally coming out in 2004, with the Cataclysm revamp in 2010, Ishara could just about pass for a modern day zone out of pure beauty and inventiveness. Some people tend to dislike the goblin structures that have sprung up around the zone, but I remember the place feeling empty without them. By even putting Hellfire Peninsula on a top 10 best list, I am bound to be offending quite a few tired adventurers who have laboured through the zone time and time again. However, back when the zone was new, it created a phenomenal impression simply because of how different it looked. There's the siege before the dark portal, the funky skybox, and of course that pesky Fel Reaver. Below the twisting Maelstrom lies the mysterious realm of Deepholm. Here creatures of stone and crystal reign supreme. Although I wouldn't say I especially care for the questing, the zone's look is so striking that playing through it becomes a surreal joy. There's also a surprising amount of flying rocks, which is very reminiscent of Outland. Another great zone below sea level is vashj'ir. It's a polarising place for sure, but the imagination and detail that permeates from every inch of the underwater wonderland must be commended. Furthermore, vashj'ir is so large that it's split into 3 subzones: the Abyssal Depths, the Kelpfar Forest, and the Shimmering Expanse, which each have a slightly different look of their own. I wasn't a big fan of Pandaria as a continent on the whole. However, the Jade Forest stood out to me as something special. The lush greenery is beautiful to look at, the land's topography is extremely dynamic, and the questing is not too bad either. Essentially a totally solid zone from start to finish. Northrend is a continent made up of many great zones, and so choosing one among them is no easy task. Icecrown has a great atmosphere, Dragonblight has the Wrathgate, but for me Howling Fjord is the most interesting zone to play through. The questing is decent certainly, but it's the landscape that I really love. The towering cliffs and overarching Nordic theme make Howling Fjord one of the strongest zones in the game. Now we reach the modern era with Draenor. I've chosen 2 zones from the newest continent, one of which surprises even myself. Initially I didn't really care for the Spires of Iraq, but after taking time to quest through it twice, I have a newfound appreciation. The story of how the Arakoa were changed from majestic flyers to corrupted land dwellers fascinates me. Interesting still is how the adherent Arakoa, who still retain their wings, hunt the corrupted Arakoa, who were once their allies and friends, and in some cases even family. Shadowmoon Valley on Draenor is a far cry from its Outland incarnation. The desolated wasteland of the Burning Crusade version has been replaced by elegant rolling fields. Furthermore, there's a good amount of variation within the zone. Nothing drastic admittedly, but enough to keep the questing experience from getting stale. Shadowmoon Valley has everything you want in a zone, a good story, a great design, and as an added bonus, the location of the Alliance garrison, which I have spent a fair amount of time in, perhaps giving me a slight bias. So these were my top 10 World of Warcraft zones. However, as this is such a subjective topic, I don't doubt that you will also have a top 10 of your own. Let me know your choices in the comments below. As always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.